All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Today's episode is called The CEO. Junior, Stan, and I, Tosin as well, he's not here today. We decided, because we all own our own businesses, we're entrepreneurs, we have that kind of mindset. We decided, why don't we start giving back and educating other people and starting their own business and give them little gems that we feel like would be very important. So I want to introduce my guy Stan here first.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Stan. I am the founder of Prolific Media Group. It's a media marketing company. I think this type of podcast, this type of thing that we're doing is going to be very insightful. If you're someone like me and like to learn, make sure you stay tuned and plug in because you're going to take down some gems.
Perfect. And then we got Junior over here.
Mr. Junior Afori, CEO of Alpha Pack Financial. Currently, right now, we have one of our products over there.
Sick.
Alpha Soft,
Sick.
biodegradable paper. Trying to save the planet one tree at a time. You know the vibe.
Yeah. And then you got me, Delonny. I'm the CEO of Nokturnal. My other partner, Paul, he's not here. He can't make it, but ultimately, Nokturnal is a media network as well. We just want to make sure that we're putting out good content, getting people informed, and making sure that they kind of just are seeing things that are going to be positive and uplifting and help them, as they further try new things. So without that being said, let's get started.
All right, let's hop into it.
All right, so let's get into the cup. Let's go to question number one.
All right.
I'll shake it around. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll pass it over to Junior first. Take one. Just hold it for now. Stan, take one. And then I'll take one. And then whoever wants to start, I'll just leave it like that. Whoever wants to start out, you start out. So just read it out loud and then we'll just go from there.
Arrogance versus confidence.
All right. So as a statement, what do you feel about arrogance versus confidence in the business world? Because everything is related back to being a CEO. Business world, we're people that we run our own businesses. We're trying to run our own business. What do you take from that, arrogance versus?
Well, honestly, when I think about arrogance versus confidence, the first thing that I say is, okay, how does one determine that somebody's arrogant? You feel me?
Right.
So then I think about the opposite, being humble. Right? How do you become humble? And I hate this whole thing about, oh, you should be humble and oh, this person's a humble person. I believe that the only time you're really humble is if you have something. Because if you broke and you humble like you're supposed to be, you feel me? Like this doesn't really make sense. But
I feel like, when we talk about arrogance and confidence, I feel like once you start to, like what we're doing, right? We're visionaries, we're starting our own businesses. And it's like, I feel like people automatically will go, once you reach a certain point, Stan is arrogant. And is it arrogance if you come across as a confident person that understands what you want and you're going after it?
No, not at all.
Is that a trait that's hard to kind of...
I think it changes based on frequency. If you are of this caliber of frequency, anybody below that frequency will take your confidence and say it's arrogant. Even I've seen billionaires and I've seen millionaires call them arrogant. But billionaires don't think they're arrogant. Because whenever you're on a certain frequency, it might come across as, oh, this person's being arrogant. Maybe because they just don't understand that lingo. It's a different type of conversation. Right. It just feels a little weird to overconfidence.
But see, that's the thing. It's like their perception is like their reality in a sense. So if they look at you as something that they aspire to be, they might look at it like, why are you flexing? But you're just doing you. You know what I mean? You've been doing you for so long. You know what works and what doesn't. So if you're confident in what you do, someone might look at it as arrogant, but that doesn't change the fact. I think you said about humility.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. I think like when you're arrogant, you're just trying to brag. When you're confident, it's just like you will still perform even if no one's watching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's a good one. But here's the thing too. Like, I feel like when you try to like be like humble and have humility, I still find like people still take it as arrogance. Like it doesn't matter. So like if we're sitting in a room like this, like we're talking, right? And we can have conversation, and you sit at the table with some other dudes, and you're having conversation, and you're like, no, like this is what I want to do, and it's just automatic. Even if you're trying to be humble about it, and you word it a certain way, people take it as like, oh, this guy's an arrogant, cocky guy. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
because the frequency. Because they're looking at you and they can't understand your
Yeah,
frequency.
yeah.
They don't understand the level that
Speaking
you're
a
at.
different language.
And honestly, when you're at a certain level, you can talk based on the level that you're at. Because if you've done something in the past, you've proven yourself, you can talk like that. But they don't understand that frequency. So whenever you come across, or you, at that point, it's like your presence brings that. So no matter what you say, they're gonna call you arrogant regardless.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
you can't
facts.
win that battle.
You can't win
bro.
that battle. That is not up to you what they think.
No.
And
You
you're not.
can't control how people
perceive you.
you.
Nah, you can't. That's,
But I feel like as men, why do we need to feel that way? Is it an ego thing? Because I've been around. I'm sure you guys have. I've been around guys that have made millions more dollars than me, and I look at it more as like, why don't I learn how to take notes from this dude? Like,
Right.
yeah, he looks a certain way, he may talk a certain way, but I'm like, bro, like I don't feel threatened by that. I'm more like, can I learn from you?
Yeah.
Bring me along for the ride. But
Yeah,
that's my
sure.
mindset. So
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
They say that every great mentor was once a great student.
100%.
You know what I mean? You look at it from that's why you are where you're at, because you look at it opportunity to level up. Where some people look at it like, nah, he's just being arrogant. It's like, nah.
Because it's easier, honestly, I'm starting to realize now, it's easier to hate.
One
100%.
Like, it's just so much easier to hate. Somebody rather be like, yo, you know what, call you arrogant, downplay you.
Right.
So it makes them feel a certain type of way. Like, people like these like small moments that make them feel like
100.
like there's something.
100. I even realize, what people will do is they'll start to create your path and your story. So for you, so they'll be like, yo, the only reason why Junior's doing so good, and they started like that. They started like, yo, the only reason why is because, and then they start listing all these things like
trying
that.
to downgrade
Right.
all the work you put in, all the time you put in, just that. Oh yeah, he got lucky, got a cosign from so and so. That's why he's there. Are you crazy, bro? I've been putting in the work. What do you mean? You weren't there when I was eating
Shooting in the
spaghetti
gym.
at the top.
You weren't.
Like, come on, don't disrespect that, fella. See that? Weird things.
Yeah.
Weird.
You know the joke is if people who have that mindset would just ask themselves, like, do you really think that's just that one reason? They know they lying to you. They're lying out their teeth.
And to me, it's crazy that you wouldn't. Again, like maybe we have to learn. And I think, like I said, these talks are good for people to listen to. Like, you have to change your mindset to go. You know what? Like, bro, Junior's doing better than me. Let me be around Junior. I need Junior's energy. I need Stan's energy. Like, show me what you guys are doing. How I can level up like you. Like, why would I want to be like, oh, it's only because of whatever. Like, bro, I could whatever. I could match that energy and whatever. And it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
It's tough. It's ego. Ego is one of those things. It's this fake little narrative, whatever, in your head, the story that you created, and now you just want to live this story so bad.
Right.
Instead of learning, and that's the difference between people who really want change in their life and really want to evolve and be better, versus people that rather play the victim card, or rather just play an excuse, or rather just say, oh, this person's arrogant, because it erases the fact that they have to do the work for them to get there.
And don't get it twisted. Like, I've been around guys who are very confident, and they have a sense of like a little bit of arrogance, but in a smooth way. If you get what I'm saying, it's not, the confidence is different than the arrogance because it comes out a different way. You know what I'm saying?
I think arrogance is only is only a factor, and it's only something that's discomforting if that person is not on that level. That's the only time you can really
That's
say
a good point. That's a good point.
It's arrogant, when it's like, okay, you don't even put in the work to be able to talk like this. But if you're putting in the work, and it doesn't matter if you put you in a room with 10 people and 5 people say you're putting in the work, then hey, you're putting in the work. But if 3 people are saying, hi, put in the work, and 7 people are saying, dude, you don't do nothing.
Facts.
Like, what are you talking about?
So essentially, confidence is earning your arrogance.
100%.
So what do you guys think about Kanye?
Ooh, that's hard.
Kanye puts in the work, and people say he's
Yo,
arrogant.
I don't
But
care.
Kanye, to me, is like somebody that just speaks his mind, because you just said he's he's at a level.
Yo, Kanye
He has
is
a
the
receipt.
GOAT.
He has a receipt.
Like I don't think
He has
people
a receipt.
You're
understand.
gonna see some comments under that, like, no.
No. I don't think.
Yeah, if we could get Kanye up here, right?
I don't think people understand the type of work that man put in.
Facts.
Bro, he used to rap in a room when Jay-Z was on his phone, not taking him seriously, and he still knew he was gonna be good. He's like, I'm better than a producer. Came into the music game, fucking killed it.
Facts.
Then he says, I'm gonna be the best fashion designer. People are laughing at him.
Yeah.
People are saying, nah, he can't be that, bro.
Facts.
With all of this cancel culture going on, how the hell does a man still make $1 billion in revenue
Facts.
a year?
100%.
Yo, a deep, like,
Still.
Yeezys, like when like people were not thinking twice.
Bro,
They were
the
just-
shoe was $200 and the resale value was close to a stack for every shoe that was released.
And it goes back to your point, like, he's a guy that talked the talk, but also put in the work. So you
Put in
can't,
the work.
you could say what you want to say about him being arrogant and talking a certain way, but he's behind the scenes, as you said, like talking things and then actually doing it. You know what I
He's
mean?
doing it. He's doing it. When he said, I'm going to move to Calabasas and I'm going to do whatever in my little land that I bought, bro, he's trying to manufacture these sneakers and bring jobs to the country.
Right.
And saying, instead of outsourcing over here, let's do it over here. Let's really do something.
Yeah, and I think because he talks a certain way and he says what's on his mind, people automatically go, oh, he's an idiot in this sense and that. But you made a good point, both of you, like both times. Like, I think when you're at a different frequency and you think a different way, it's hard to deal with other people that don't
100%.
think like that. You know
But
what I mean?
I'm looking at it like this. Like, everybody wants to say what they want to say about Kanye West. The way I process it is, okay, if you are crazy and if you are an idiot or whatever, then I should be doing better than you.
100.
I should be doing better than you.
100.
Clearly you're doing something
Facts.
right.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
I just can't see that.
Right.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, I think when we touch on that topic, wrapping that up, I really believe, like, if you're confident, it's just about, trying to find ways to, I guess, downplay it to talk to people that don't understand.
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, no. Your confidence is your superpower, man. You should never belittle that or dim that down for nobody.
Like Grant Cardone said it best.
What'd he say?
If I do that, he said, if I dim down my superpower, then that doesn't make me a fucking superhero. Feel me?
Facts.
There's levels.
Yeah.
Why would I give away my superpower and now I'm not a superhero?
Facts. You're right.
And it's, you know what?
Why
To be
would
honest, it's actually the most selfless thing to do is to be your greatest self. Because at the end of the day, if you dumb down yourself, you're not doing those who look up to you any service. You know what I mean? Be the GOAT so they can aspire to be that too.
Facts,
You know what I mean?
A lot of hate comes with that position, though.
100%. But you know what? The outcome, the legacy you leave behind by people who aspire to be greater, you can't put a price on that.
Right. You're right.
You know what I mean? If one other person follows in your footsteps and they make it too, fam, you done your job.
That's true. You're right.
It's a
100%.
life worth living, man.
So you heard that. You heard those gems right there on that. Be confident. That's your superpower.
Bars.
Bars.
All right, Stan, it's on you.
All right, next question is why do we follow people? Like, things like idols and celebrities.
I'll start that off. I feel like people do that because, again, as we were talking about at the previous topic, they don't have the vision in terms of like, okay, and maybe they do have the vision. They don't have the, I don't even know how to say it. They don't have the go after it kind of spirit where they just like, hey, like, I want this, and I'm just gonna go make it happen, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I feel like people just go, they look at somebody and they go, man, like the blueprint of this person. I think I'm just gonna maybe try to follow it instead of trying to create their own path. In my opinion, I think,
Okay. No, I agree with that. I think too with following, it's like, but we have to understand, like, imagine the world with just leaders. Like, somebody's gonna have to follow somebody. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I never. Like, when someone knows what, like, someone did today, like, oh, did you hear da-da-da? I was like, nah, I really...
right, me too.
don't care.
I'm like that. I don't give a damn.
No,
I feel you on that. I don't give a damn.
Me giving that my energy takes it away from something else that actually matters.
Right.
Like, and not to hate on anyone who loves sports and stuff, Like some people can sit and tell you the stats of everything, but they couldn't tell me how much money they made last month.
That's true.
Or where their expenses went to.
That's true.
You can manage your fantasy team, but you can't manage your finances.
Facts. That's a good point.
Like
It's a
follow
gem right
yourself.
there.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think the energy part of following someone's life who does, like, if they see me on the street, if Kanye saw me on the street, he would not stop for me.
No. That's a fact.
Who am I? You
That's
know?
a fact.
So it's like, why? Yeah, you know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like people, their drive isn't there, so they follow other people. And we live in a world now where think about Instagram, think about Facebook. Like, it's all about following. And to your point, I think I personally, I'm sure you guys, I don't give a damn what somebody's doing. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like, if we're not gonna sit down like this and politic and do something together, like, don't waste my time with telling me you're making videos and you're at the club. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, you know what I mean? That's just me. You know?
I think it's a weird one. It's a weird one because it's like the path of going through. It's like somebody used an analogy a long time ago. They're like, okay, if it's a snowstorm right now, right? And I walk to that corner store over there, right? If I walk to that corner store and I come back and I tell you to go, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go with the same footsteps
Good point, yeah.
that I went through.
Right.
Because it's what? It's easier.
Yeah.
The thing about, especially about being a boss or somebody being in a position, I think being an entrepreneur, and big difference. There's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a business owner.
That's good too. Gems.
Because a business owner is somebody that has a system created and they're following the system and just trying to do the system as well as possible.
Right.
Like being a franchise owner for McDonald's is being a business owner. There's a system that's created. You just got to follow the system.
Right.
But then there's being an entrepreneur for a product that doesn't exist. An Instagram, per se, when it first got started. There is no formula on how to do that.
Right.
Like they're figuring shit out as they went.
You're figuring shit out as it goes.
True.
And it takes a specific type of person who says, you know what? I am not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
That's going to be able to do that. But think about that. You eliminate 99% of people. Because most people say, you know what? I'd rather have some form of security knowing that I'm doing something that somebody's done or I could follow some footsteps than being the first person.
Very true.
It's very, very rare where somebody says, you know what? I want to pioneer something and be the first one and take all the hits.
So I was going to ask you, so what would you guys say in regards to that characteristic? How do you find that characteristic? How do you build that characteristic? Because obviously we want to give knowledge. Like, how do you go, you know what, like you said, like, I want to be the first to start this company. And without worrying about, like, I know people are going to talk shit about me if I fail. And that's what people are afraid of. Because that's what it comes down to. People are just worried about taking a step to do something because they're afraid what people are going to say after. Because they're going to say, yo, you're an idiot. That's not going to work. And then as soon as you hear that enough times, in your mind, you believe it, right? And you stop doing something, you know?
Honestly, great. Yo, that's a great.
My guys, I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, honestly, there's two types of people in that scenario. You have to understand, and I know this might sound harsh and it might sound shitty.
Talk to us.
But people are born with that.
Hey.
It's not for everybody. It's not for the weak at heart.
Hey, that's why this is important.
You don't get drive from Walmart. You can't buy it.
Facts.
No.
It's just either you have it
or you don't.
There's two things that you can regret in life, and you have to choose which one bothers you the most. Either you regret failure or you regret regret. If you are somebody that says, you know what, I hate regret more than I hate failure, you're going to take failure every single time and you're going to make the mistakes.
Right.
But if you're somebody who's so afraid of failure, then you're going to experience regret.
Facts.
There's no way around that.
That's crazy.
There's just no way around that. But the problem is a lot of people are not thinking about what regret brings. Because it's a long-term feeling.
Not to mention, what regret brings is it brings a lot of, like, resentment to others. You want to stop others from doing other things. You want to stop others from getting to their goals because you go, it didn't work for me. I don't want it to work for you. Like, not at all. Like, and they don't even realize it just comes out. You know what I'm saying?
What you said is true, but I think there's even a more dangerous side when a person, out of love tries to prevent you from doing something because they feel that it. Our parents, for instance, maybe you have a parent who tried not going to school to be a lawyer or an engineer. They actually want to start a business back in the day, back in the the 70s, and they failed at it. So please don't do it. Right. I love you. Don't do it.
Right.
So they're coming from a good place, and I think that's kind of tricky sometimes too. So we follow the advice of people we love because we know they're coming from a place of love. But
so how do you block that out?
I don't think you should block it out. I think you should take it, receive it for what it is, but ultimately have your own say. Ask yourself, am I my dad? Am I my mom?
True.
Like, okay, mom, you sucked at this because you couldn't speak English, but I can speak English.
Yeah.
So I might not be, I might not fail it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, take it in because you have to understand there's always gems in everything that we receive. Yeah. But ultimately, you got to make your own decision because that regret, you can't go back in time. Like, you can't go back and fix something that you never did. Yeah. And that what if?
And I think that's a good point about the regret because I feel like what happens is you literally listen to so many people, you take in so much information, and you're like, oh man, like maybe they are right, and then you start the self-doubt thing. But I think you have to try to stay grounded in what you're doing, and you got to now surround yourself around people that are doing something because that's the only way you can go. 100%. I can continue to move forward. And you're right, you take the positive from your parents or people that are even around you sometimes are trying to be positive and giving you that feedback, but it's like you still got to find other people that are doing that and you have the same wavelength. You know what I mean?
I read somewhere that the will to do something stems from the belief that it can be done. Yeah. If you don't know it can be done, you won't even try to do it. So you have to like plug in with someone who's actually doing it.
That's true.
Or you're gonna try it on your own. It's gonna get hard, and you're gonna quit. Yeah. But if you're like you have a mentor or someone who's doing it, who you're in communication with, and you might suck at it now, but you say like he or she's killing it. It can be done. It's gonna spur the desire to actually pursue it when things get hard.
Right. This is why we say people are born with that. Because it's literally the 1% of person that could not have a mentor, not have associations, not have whatever, and still get to that high level.
For sure.
But like it's rare. That number is like 0.01,
which is why they call them the 1%ers. And you know what I realized? We've all heard the saying, "It's lonely at the top," because when you get there, there's not a lot of people like that, like you said. So now when you're being a visionary and you're thinking all these things, and you're telling people, and they're talking to you like, "Oh, bro, you have too many ideas. Like you're crazy. Like you know what I mean?"
It's like a great example is to think about. Like I think of what I think about all the time when I think about the elites of the world. I think about who the hell does Elon Musk talk to? I'm so curious because you can't talk to. I'm gonna say 99.9% of people.
It's true.
Or probably almost even 100% of people, because even the billionaires of the world don't even believe that you're gonna go to fucking Mars.
That's true.
Who do you talk to?
Right.
That's a lonely life, bro. and it's not a lonely life because he's a lonely person.
Right.
It's a lonely life because the frequency that you're vibrating on. Not a lot of people can vibrate on that frequency.
And they think you're crazy.
They think you're fucking nuts.
Yeah. When they say like insanity and like it's a fine line between genius and insanity.
Oh man.
That's right.
And the line is thin. Very, very thin.
And if you actually go and watch the interview with Elon Musk on the Joe Rogan podcast, the things he was saying, and I encourage people to go watch that, like he was talking about futuristic shit, like shit that we wouldn't even think about, like you said. And he's always thinking like 10, 20 years ahead. Like, we gotta do this for the future, and we gotta do this and this and this. But like you said, like, who can you go and open up and talk to that about? You know what I mean?
Okay, kind of on the same topic, but so who would you guys rate more? An individual who had mentorship and found someone who like they can look up to and work with, getting it, or someone who just did it on their own?
Got it on
their own. I'm all about whoever got it on their own.
So getting it. So if you have a mentorship, it doesn't count.
I read them both.
Here's my thing. I think because you can't blame me for being smart.
You're right.
Someone wants to work harder, God bless you. But man, I'm not trying to fluke things. Like if there's systematic things that I know, okay, if I want to do this, I have to do A, B, and C. D, E to the Z is all me, but there's steps. I want to find out those steps as soon as possible and then run with it. So I think it's actually smart to get mentorship because there's a lot of things that you find out on your own that you really didn't have to.
You're right, 100%.
You can ask a man like Junior how to do something. He will tell you how to do it. Now, you got to do it if you want to do it, but instead of trying to figure that shit out, there's principles.
So just before you go, I was gonna say, so I look at like Dipset, Jim Jones, Cameron, and these guys, Dame Dash, and there was a big argument with Jim Jones and Cameron for a while. I don't know if you guys all followed it. And Jim Jones was saying Cameron always brought them on like with him, right? But he was saying like he never really went into the intricacies about how to do certain things. His thing was, bro, I'm gonna teach you how to fish. So I bring you on with me, and yo, you see what I'm doing? You're here, you're already plugged in. You need me on a song? I'll jump on the song with you.
Right.
But I'm not gonna be promoting it with you. I'm not gonna carry you. So what do you say to that? In terms of mentorship, is that a bad mentor? Or how would you talk about mentorship? Do they need to carry you and or is it like I just show you and once and boom, you gotta figure it out?
100%. I think there's an essence of figuring because not everyone's identical. My methodology of doing something is probably different from yours, but if you find your way, you can do it just as good as me. You feel me? So I don't believe you need to drag someone on your back, but at least show them the ropes,
Right.
give them the principles, the basics, and they figure out in between. I think there's pillars to everything, and the middle work is subjective.
I think even as a mentor as well, if you have a mentor and if you hear a conversation of a mentor and a mentee, it almost sounds like your mentor is a pessimist. In a sense.
I agree, yeah.
Because your mentor is going to tell you all of the things you need to fucking fix about yourself and your business.
Right.
Every weakness, he's going to challenge and go after. Like my mentor, bro, I could give you the most genius idea, and his mind is not genius. And his mind is not genius at all. I can see the pitfalls on where this thing fails.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, you need to fix that. Once you fix that, then you'll
Let me ask you this question. How do you take that?
honestly,
Because this is important for people to know. How do you take that? When he's and not to cut you, like when you get excited, right? And bro, you know what I'm gonna say. And you know, we get so excited as like entrepreneurs, business people, and we're like, yo, like this is my idea. Let's run with it. And then he'll say to you, no, Junior, that's not a good idea. How do you take that?
I keep it pushing.
But are you like upset with him? Like how do you?
No. I gotta prove to him that it's a good idea. I gotta prove him wrong. It's not like he's always right.
Facts.
But in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna listen to what he's telling me.
Right.
I'm gonna fix all of the things I need to fix because he's telling me some great shit. My mentor is a fucking major in economics, bro. And he's a real estate mogul. He understands certain things on a different level.
Facts.
But when he's telling me some stuff and he's identifying the weaknesses, this is free game.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta pay somebody, a project analyst, to look at your business and tell you these are the weak points.
Right.
I'm getting this for free.
Right.
He's telling me the weak points and I'm saying, now I know what I gotta fix.
Facts.
So it's not like he's saying it's not gonna work. He's telling me all the weak points, so I gotta fix them.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, majority of your job is to solve problems.
Facts.
100%.
And
That's what you're doing.
And that goes back to what we were saying. It's lonely because your job is now not to worry about building just the business. It's about to provide for others.
Yeah.
How can I bring my boys on with me for the ride? How do I give other jobs to other people?
Right.
And with that being said, unfortunately, we got to move on to the next topic. But we'll definitely touch back on that again. And it's on me. So mine, the statement is make more millionaires. So I'm going to start that off. I think that is a big problem within our community. We don't take the time, and I see it all the time, like to empower and create more and duplicate the process. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like a Jay-Z, right? Actually, no, let's go to NBA. I was listening to Kyrie talk about this months ago. I don't know if you guys heard it. Like he was saying all the players should come together and start their own league.
100%.
The networks, everybody would pay, and he's genius for that. Like, of course the networks are gonna give you deals because you guys are starting your own league. In terms of management, et cetera, they would have to figure out the roadmap to that. But basically he was saying that, and of course the media made him look crazy. Kyrie's on drugs or something's wrong with him. He's having problems and issues. And now, today, like it happened a couple weeks ago, Draymond just said, Andre Drummond, the franchise basically sidelined him and said they're gonna trade him, so they're not playing him until they successfully trade him. And then Draymond said, like, it's so funny when the management wants to put us on the bench and tell us they're trading us, no problem. Media doesn't say nothing. It's business. If the player now wants to empower himself and say, yo, I want to move, go to another team, the player's crazy. And he's like, yo, it's just a double standard. My guy, you got to realize, though, these guys signed the fucking checks, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you could complain, but if you're not about to go and be a boss and start your own league, like, figure it out. You guys aren't really trying to empower the next generation to me. Like, these guys, like the NBA players, the football players, like, if you guys aren't out here trying to create more guys that have ideas, starting our own banks, I think you're just complaining. You sound like babies to me, in my opinion. Like, just listening to it, I don't know.
100%, bro. I totally agree with that. And it's funny because today, I found out a valuable piece of information. We were at a meeting earlier, and the gentleman said that like the East Asian, like Indian communities, they plug in with one another when it comes to deals, like selling a Wendy's or a franchise amongst themselves. They make money amongst themselves on purpose because they have that intention to keep
Facts.
the wealth within their community.
Right.
Where's our platform for that? Brother, something's in the
Yeah,
works.
I hear you.
Something's in the works, right?
I hear you.
But you know what I mean? I feel like we don't have a place where we can make it accessible for people to get the information.
It should be like a factory.
100%. Because, success leaves clues.
Facts.
You can literally rinse, recycle, and whatever that phrase is, you repeat.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can literally take someone and put them through a blueprint and help them become a millionaire.
Right.
There are so many ways to do it. So many. But we're not, I don't know. I really
I think
don't
it
know.
goes back to what we were talking about initially, which is the competitive spirit that we have against each other, and the ideology that you don't want to see somebody like be over you, like you want to be the big dog in the room at all times, which is crazy.
Do you feel like that's changing though a little bit
Yeah,
within our
I
generation?
think so. I think slowly.
I feel it too though. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying we're not competitive, but there's a different nature behind it. Like a man will put you on game. He'll be like, this is my supplier, yo, if you need a bill, tell me, you know what I mean? They'll talk to you and try to help you out.
Yeah.
Back, I feel like our parents' generation, it was more that cutthroat, like, nah, like I need bread from my family now, and you doing what I'm doing, you're gonna be immediately.
Right, and you're cutting into that. Yeah.
I think the reason why we do that now is one, the greatest savings account you could possibly have is the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make money and you want to make money for a long time, you got to make sure all your friends make money.
100%.
That's the greatest way, because if you're
100%.
ever down, you put your friend on, hey, I'm going to need you to do a woo, woo, woo. We make money together.
Fact.
That's the greatest savings account you'll have is your association.
And I think it's very important that you build that round table. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you have to have a team, and then you let everybody know on your team, like, look, I'm going to take care of you, bro. Like, this is not about just me. This is about me empowering you. And this is where we're talking about the visionary part of it comes in, because it's like my thought process is not about the right now, it's about the future.
Sure, right.
And anybody that has that kind of spirit, as you were saying earlier, that drive, it can't be taught. It's something you just have, which is selfless, and you want to help others and empower others to build that. You know what I mean? And you have that network, that group around you. But I just don't understand how some of these guys are complaining, and they're not out here, and don't get me wrong, maybe they're doing it behind the scenes, we don't know, but I don't see a lot of duplication to what you're saying, where that blueprint comes out, and we're seeing more of a certain type of thing. You know what I mean?
100%. Like they're sorry to cut you off, Junior, but there was an article, and it was talking about one of the most wealthiest real estate investors, black gentleman, and he's in North America. I think he's in Atlanta. Don't quote me on it, but this man's been making bread for years. I'm talking like he got his real estate license in the 80s, and he's killing it.
Damn.
But it's like, why don't you have? I forget his. It was an Instagram post, and I'm like, why doesn't this dude have an academy where you can literally you clearly have a system that works. You can't show other people how to do it too. Not saying he wasn't. I'm not sure, but I'm just saying the fact is that there's so many people who have made so much success for themselves within our community, and I feel like they're not really doing their part in terms of legacy by teaching other people to do the same. Now, everyone has their own mission and their own reasons. I'm not gonna hate on someone because they don't want to share gems, but what you do for yourself dies when you die, but what you do for others lives on.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why not just how would you feel? You know, like on your deathbed, you helped make 10 millionaires.
That's my legacy that I want. That's the legacy I want. You know what I mean?
And for me, the way I look at it is like this: is a lot of people in our culture, we chase the bag. White people or other races, they create the bag. There's a different level of conversation when you're talking about create. Like when I've talked to like wealthy men from other races, you know what they tell me? They say, "Hey, listen, they're printing $100 million a day. How do we get that?" When people like us are chasing the ideologies that these people are building for you to go chase, they're creating the companies that you want to buy into. They're creating the companies that you buy the products from.
Right.
So they're creating value and putting it in the marketplace, which means they're creating money. Meanwhile, people are chasing the bag. When you chase something, it keeps on doing what?
Running away.
Running away from it.
Man. Yeah, man. So these guys are creators and we're consumers.
And there's a difference.
There's a huge difference.
And you know the problem is, and I guess we could blame the social media era, the social media time. Everybody's so caught up with celebrity. They're not caught up with, like you just said, which is huge. They're not caught up with result, and they're not caught up with the framework of building the platforms.
Yeah.
The Ubers, the YouTubes, these type of things. Like you said, people of other cultures understand they need the platform, and we utilize it to build it, to grow it. We leverage our networks, and we grow these things. And then we turn around and get upset when they go, nah, like, I'll give you like a 10% cut.
Yeah.
But you've now built my site up to like X amount. We're not building the vehicles, like as you said.
Who owns Clubhouse?
Oh, it was a white guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't
There was
know.
a guy who used to work for Google.
Oh, okay. Sure.
But here, and Master P was talking about that recently as well too. It's the thing. You can't get mad in life when you're not willing to take the risk.
Oh, 100%.
I think the greatest way to tell somebody "fuck you" or the greatest way to go against the system is to take the risk.
Right.
Is to go out there, create value, take the risk, and if somebody tries to shut you down at that point, then you can say, okay, this is what's really going on. But if you're in a room and you're scared of somebody that you don't even know, that you don't even try, whose fault is that?
I agree.
It's nobody's fault. Being a millionaire is not the hardest thing ever. It's just doing something consistently that will bring value.
And you know what I think would be dope when you're talking about value? What would be dope is if we did have a process where we could duplicate it.
100%.
And I think that's something obviously we'll talk about as we
Systems.
continue to go with these. But I think we need to create systems that we can empower other creatives
Right.
and build systems to create more of those type of
100%.
people. Because as you said, on your deathbed when you lay down and you go, man, when people talk about you 10, 20 years from now, they go, shit, this guy built another elite of 20, 30, 40 people that can go and reduplicate that same process. You know what I mean? And that's how generational wealth begins. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think people realize that. And I don't think, especially now, the people that are in power that look like us get. Like, you know what I mean? I always hear a lot of talk, but I don't see no action. You know
Because
what I
this
mean?
is the thing.
And they don't, and they don't pass the plug, as you were saying. So, you know, shout out to Dave. Dave always says that. How am I gonna be doing something? I turn around and I have a supplier, and I know you need it, and I'm gonna say, nah, Stan, like this is my guy. Like I'm not. That's crazy
It's
to me.
crazy. It's small-minded thinking because you think there's so little that if you give someone else the source, like if your mindset that there's a finite number of wealth, you're in the wrong game,
100%.
right?
You were saying something, sorry about that.
You're in the wrong game, period. I even totally forgot.
Anyway, we were just talking about
The
like
plug.
we were talking about the plug, but then we were talking about building that legacy to have that duplication process. Where we
Oh.
build more.
So what I was saying and I was thinking was the biggest issue that we have is we don't know who to compete with. You're competing with Joe Blow. Like right now we can both have a clothing brand. You want to compete with me because we both have a clothing brand, but you don't want to compete with Nike.
It's facts. That's so good. That's true.
But you don't want to compete with Adidas.
That's good.
Right.
To them, you don't want to compete with Gymshark. You want to compete with the wrong people.
Right.
Like if you're competing, it's like in basketball. If you're competing, and in your mind you're thinking, oh, I'm just gonna compete with the guys in my neighborhood, you've lost the battle, bro.
100%.
You think you're gonna go to league worried about the guys,
in your neighborhood?
You're
and trying to get respect from the guys in your neighborhood.
Hell no. Because AAU's gonna come around and you're gonna see that kid from California that's freaking killing it, and he's gonna give you some real perspective about how ball is,
Facts.
about how league is.
Facts.
Like, yo, listen, I'm not even as good as these guys yet, but I'll still bust your ass on this court. You feel me? It's a different type of thing.
Facts.
So when it comes to competition, I think sometimes in our community, the competition level is too low. We want to compete with each other when it's like, no, compete with the top guy. Make that your threshold. You want to get into sneakers, compete with Nike.
Facts.
You want to go into fashion, compete with Gucci.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Stop trying to tear down the local guy.
Right.
Because, yeah, just because you guys have similar clientele, you got to understand. People don't wear the same brand every single day.
Right. That's facts. That's facts.
They don't. And I'm just using one angle, and I'm just using clothing. When you go to a convenience store, or if you go to a grocery store, you see multiple versions of a brand. And all of those brands are multi-million-dollar brands. Doesn't that, when you go to the almond milk section and you see 6-7 different almond milks.
Exactly.
And they're all million-dollar companies.
Right.
What does that tell you?
Right.
There's mad space for people to
Right.
get in here.
100%.
If one new one comes, it doesn't change the whole industry.
And you're right, and I think we're thinking so small-minded in that regard. Like it's just we're not trying to break down the fact that, listen, like if we could figure out a process to first of all remove yourself from it and then duplicate the process, it's very, very possible, like you said, for everybody to eat.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%. When you want to build something, it reminds me of something I heard too. Is like I want to build something to the point where I'm unnecessary. Like I can just literally remove myself from the equation, and the shit keeps just going and going.
And also to add to that, I think for us to be able to create a lot of millionaires, we need a lot of billionaires.
Yeah.
Because you need to also understand, in a $1 billion organization, there's multiple millionaires.
Yeah.
Very true.
And the millionaires, there's the guys that make tens of millions manage the guys that make millions.
Yeah.
The guys that make millions manage the guys that make a few $100,000.
Right.
And the guys that make 100,000 manage the people that make
60Ks,
the
70Ks.
60Ks and 70Ks and whatever. There's levels to this shit. And I think for us to create, like if we really want to create millionaires, then we need to start thinking, okay, then we need to be billionaires.
Right.
What industry should we get into to make that type of money so we can produce and have a type of conglomerate where we can produce millionaires?
And that, with that being said, we'll leave it at that. That's a good question.
That's why we got the office off.
Exactly. Last question on Stan.
All right, last question, guys. Why not take a risk on yourself?
Ooh, let you start that off. You bless us with that.
Why not, guys? Like we were talking about before, regret. I'd rather deal with the pain of failure than the pain of regret because you can't get that back. Taking a risk on yourself. If you don't take a risk on yourself, who will? Like really, like who will?
Right.
Because low key, I won't bet on anyone else more than I would on myself.
100%.
Facts. 100%.
Like you could be the greatest at what you do, but it's not me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not say I'm the best, but I'm not letting myself down.
Right.
You might want to fail,
Yeah.
and it's not has to affect you, so you might just fail. But with me, nah.
I can hug my own L. I
Yeah,
can't hug somebody else's L. Like, I'm sorry.
It's not my business, not my problem.
Right.
Facts. Yeah.
I think people don't take the risk again because what we were talking about initially is fear. Like, and I think we'll get to that eventually in these conversations. But fear, I don't know if you guys read 50's book or listened to the audio.
Oh,
Yeah.
50 vlog.
Yeah.
50 made a good point and it resonates with me. 50 talks about fear and how you gotta embrace it.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
Yeah.
Hug it.
Yeah.
Love it. Like, and like understand like, yo, I'm gonna fail and how am I just gonna overcome it? And understand like I can be scared of something, but how am I gonna do it? Like, you know what I mean? How am I gonna just get over that and figure it out? Because it's like every time, anything you do in life, you're gonna be afraid of. But I think a lot of people are so afraid of being afraid that they're just like, yo, I can't do it. And I'm not gonna take a risk on myself. Because again, it goes back to society and it goes back to culture, your group of friends, the ridicule, the disrespect, people making fun of you. Like, I think that's all those things that play.
But you know what's funny? All those things are true to a certain degree, but then people focus on that instead of like, okay, what if you're actually good at this? What if you actually kill it? What if you actually make way more money than you intend to? What if you actually change lives? What if you actually, like, you know, we're so pessimistic in our, we gravitate towards all the things that negatively could happen that we forget, like, yo, shit, this could actually work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's funny thing with fear, though. When we say we're afraid or people are scared, it's like, the risk, I think, is like, it's more riskier not to try.
Facts.
Because you can never win if you never try. You can't, like, it's mathematically impossible.
Facts.
It can't happen.
That's facts.
Right? So it's like, nah, like, I feel when people are scared, like, yo, like, your fears are, in a sense, legit to a certain degree, but, like, and so what? So now what?
Yeah, just to even put there, nobody has ever been a millionaire without thinking about being a millionaire.
Yeah,
Even if you won the lottery,
right?
Bro,
You thought
you
about
still thought about it.
100.
So like the fact that you think you're gonna be a millionaire without or extremely successful without doing absolutely nothing, not even thinking about it, is absolutely impossible.
Right.
Like it's never ever happened.
And I think again, you know, I don't want to keep bringing him up, but we go back to Kanye. Kanye speaks things into existence. People could talk about the fact that he talks crazy in regards to political things and whatever, but when he says things, he actually goes and he does it. You know what I mean?
He's literally show like, bro, that nigga right there is like, excuse my language. He's like 3 for 3. Like he's literally everything he said he was gonna do, he did it and did it to the highest level.
100. 100. And I think people don't realize, like, you have to have that self-confidence to what you're saying to go, you know what, there might be a chance that I don't do well at this, but I'm not gonna be able to continue to navigate if I don't take a chance of at least trying. Right. You know what I mean? If you have any sort of dream or you have something you want to try, you got to do it. You just got to go do it. You know what I mean?
I don't believe people when they use fear as an excuse.
Yeah.
They don't want it bad enough.
Yeah.
So like really think about it. If you had to go push this red button, or your mom dies, and you say, "I'm scared I could trip." Fuck,
right.
man. It's kind of icy outside. Like, are you really gonna make an excuse? You're just gonna go do it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So if you don't want something bad enough,
is your should a must. And even the fact that you guys have brought something that's been consistently talked about is somebody failing and caring what somebody else is gonna think. I think the only reason why you're going to care about what other people think is because you still live in a world where other people's opinions matter. You haven't seen the true side of how people really are. For me, not even gonna lie, I've had moments where I've taken real L's in life. And when I took those L's, the people that said they were down were not around. Nobody was around. Yeah. And then once you realize that, fuck, people ain't shit, then you just kind of like, you just deal with them the way you deal with them.
Right.
Once you realize there's nobody there when you had nothing, bro. Like literally you're struggling and there was only 2 people you could call. That moment does something magical for people. Because then they realize their opinions never even mattered in the first place.
And I'm glad you said that because I really starting to realize, like, I think, again, it's an ideology, it's a mentality, and it takes time. It takes a journey, too, because I feel like you have to take some L's in life in order to get to the space that we're talking about, that 100%. We're at. But if everything's a win for you, it's going to be hard for you to say, you know what, I want to do that, but I know there's a chance I could lose. I'm not even betting people. You notice certain people will only bet you certain scenarios when they know it, they guarantee the bag. They go, yo, bet $100 that he makes that. When they know he's gonna make it, that's the only way. When a betting man will say, you know what, I bet on the guy that I don't think is gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then he turns out to be right, and then people start to go, oh wow, like this person has a different kind of mentality. But I think I agree with you. Like I've been through a lot of scenarios where I've lost, bro. I've lost a lot of money. Lost friendships, fucked up a lot of businesses, and I'm like, you know, I think you have to feel that pain and you have to embrace the fear again.
Yeah, embrace it. It's all part of it. It's funny you said something about like people like in terms of being like they waiting for the right time and stuff like that too. And it's crazy when I think of that. It's like I heard an analogy about like say you want to get to point A to point B and there's 3 traffic lights. But you'll never start driving until all are green.
Yeah.
How long will you be waiting?
Forever. Bro.
It's like, keep switching. Nah, you can't live your life like that. Go, if you get an L, stop, rearrange yourself, and then go again. You know what I mean? Going. So it's like, Yeah, man, I get it though. Like certain circumstances, you feel a ways. You know what I mean? Especially when you try something that you are not even sure you can do, and you're just kind of like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways.
Even to add to that, there's a culture of something that's happening a lot with it, and it's very synonymous with this question that you just asked. Is there's something consistently going around with entrepreneurs getting into business and expecting other people to fund their businesses.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to see that, yo, you won't even bet on you, but you want some foreign guy just because you have a deck and you have a presentation and you have projection. You think this person is going to put money into your idea when they're very intelligent and they can come up with their own. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny that this question goes, I know this is a different angle, but even just to think about it from that lens of, if you're not going to invest in you, why should anybody else?
And just to plug that in as other gems quickly, like, you really gotta think to yourself, as you said, if you're gonna go out and you want somebody to buy into what you're doing, how do you not have at least a little bit of a blueprint and a little bit of work done to showcase that to somebody? You can't I can't come to you and go, yo, Stan, this is my idea, and I haven't done nothing to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't even get people that think like that. Like, how does that make sense?
This even goes into a new ideology that I've been trying to preach. Like, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of new entrepreneurs that are coming out there, and they're always talking about how to scale. And I'm like, you don't need money to build. You need money to scale. What you need originally is you need sales. People don't know how to sell, and they think just because they raised a little bit of money that it's going to change the fact that they don't know how to fucking sell. Get a customer, get a consistent customer, build a customer base. Maybe you might not need to even raise money.
Right.
Maybe that money being in the bank is going to give the bank an opportunity to give you a loan that you could get for maybe 6%. Now you have the loan for 6%. You could pay them back instead of giving away portions of your company because you're afraid to go out there and face failure.
Yeah. And selling, and that's a good point too, selling comes at a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
You can't have people that you're working with, doesn't have to be staff, just people you're working with, and not be able to sell to them. How are you going to continue to have your business grow if you can't sell to the people that you're with? If they don't believe in you, how are you going to continue to grow whatever it is you're doing?
Right.
You know, I think I was talking to this C.E.O. last week, and we were having this conversation about, you know, how the corporate structure is built. Yeah. And he was saying, like, right now, obviously there's a pandemic going on, and the hard thing for him is like trying to motivate people. So he has his ground people that are salespeople. Yeah. He doesn't ever go down there. Down the ladder, he goes to his next level, which is the RSLs and then whatever, and then the ground level people he doesn't even bother with. And he's trying to figure out how to, these ideas and creative ideas, and he was like, you know, like, I'm sitting up here trying to find ways to build morale and do this and this. I'm like, why don't you just talk to the people that are on the floor? Yeah. That are the ones making the calls, doing what they have to do to keep the business going.
Motivate it up.
You don't understand. They're the ones that are gonna leverage everything to you. They'll give you the ideas, and then you go, oh, this is a great idea. You'll come back and say, this is the idea I'm implementing, but it came from such and such down there. But it's like, they don't believe in you, and you want to sit up here and not realize you got to work all the way down. Like, you said something earlier, like, you want to be a boss, CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, but you got to be an entrepreneur, and then you also got to take yourself out of it first. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think guys realize how important those things are down the chain when you're trying to build something, which is, again, comes to the risk, right? But I think you were making a good point. If your heart's into it and it's something you're passionate about, it'll just come out in the work.
100%. You live out your purpose. I feel like sometimes we are not honest enough with ourselves, so we don't do the things that are required. You know, like I think like if you sit and you just contemplate, like, yo, why do I want to be a business owner or an entrepreneur? Like, what's my reason? Once you find your why, no one can stop you.
Even to add to that, the why, because I think a lot of times people get into businesses that it's more passion driven, but your why could be more passion driven than the actual business itself.
100%. But that's what you have to reflect and figure that out.
Yeah.
Some people are okay with, like, they love what they're doing. I'll do it for free. It's like, yeah, but that's not a profitable business.
Yeah.
You can't do that forever. It's not
Yeah,
sustainable.
right.
Like,
You're gonna need money eventually.
Right.
You know?
people try to, and don't get me wrong, some people at work, some people try to turn a hobby into a business, but that doesn't mean necessarily it's gonna make money. You
Right,
see what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
That's the thing about a hobby. It's something that you enjoy, and it's something that you should just keep a hobby.
And the thing is too, like, you can enjoy it, and again, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to start thinking, if we are the visionaries, like as we're talking here, like we have to build the platforms to create for others and not rob them. If you get what I'm saying, like, we got to be able to have a platform where we can bring those creatives in and allow them to be creative and handle the business, but handle business with honor and respect and helping them get to that next level. So, because as you're saying, a lot of people are passionate and they'll do things for free. They don't understand the business concept behind it.
Yeah.
Because they're creative, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a lot of boys that are creative, like, do art, do different things. But if you ask them to sit down and go, yo, how are you going to make money? They couldn't tell you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But here's where the passion needs to be. Let's just say if my passion is freedom, right? My reason why that I do business or why I do what I do is because I want to be free. I want to be the type of person, I want to be able to take my kids to whatever sports practice and go to all of their games and stuff like that. Maybe you might have to do something that you're least passionate about because it is profitable. So you can actually have the life that you actually want. That's just the honorable way of
100%.
living. It's living in purpose as opposed to living in passion.
Right.
Not that sometimes it works for people. Cool. If you're one of the lucky ones that you could have a passion that could turn into a real profit for you, then by all means.
Right.
But for the average person who might not be able to have that, you might have to you might have to choose your battles. It might be, I might do something that I'm not too passionate about, but I like it and I could make money off of it so I can live the lifestyle that I want, so I could be a better parent or better whatever, that reason why. You feel me?
And I think that's kind of the dilemma sometimes, because it takes a lot of work to really sit down and think about what you can do that you can tolerate, and because you can't do that by accident. Imagine you spend 20 years of your life doing something you hate to never get anything out of it because you kind of did it on the whim.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Most people already do that.
That's
Most
true.
people have
never
a
get
job
it.
for 40. Like, if we're gonna sit here and say
That's a
motherfuckers
fact.
who's
My
working
bad.
for
I
pension,
forgot.
they don't like this shit.
I forgot.
90% of people don't like what they
fact.
fucking do.
That's a fact.
Yeah, man.
They hate it. They hate it.
So to me, I'm sitting here and I'm really listening to motherfuckers who are like, okay, so you're going to take less with something that you hate. I'd rather, if I'm gonna do something that I hate, I'd rather do a business that I hate than a job that I hate and have more.
100%.
But you know why
You
it's
still
safe?
have more.
It's safe, bro. Taking
What's-
what you're saying, the job is safe.
Oh, no. For what?
In their mind, it's just the way we're programmed, right?
No, see,
taking the job is
safety is
safe.
an illusion.
Yes, that's true.
Because it's still not safe.
That's
It's
true.
not because
Coronavirus is gonna come and slay.
Yeah.
No,
That's
real
facts.
talk. No.
That's
Because look,
facts.
at the end of the day, and not to knock anyone who has a job, but I'm saying a job is, your job is basically owned by someone else. They can cut the plug on you whenever they feel like
Facts.
it. Only way you can get fired in your business is if you fire yourself by not performing.
Right.
100%.
You quit on yourself, your business will go to shit.
Right.
But if you don't quit on yourself, you'll be all right. You know how many times I hear people who work hard, like they're there, like, yo, what do you say? Oh, my manager asked me to do this. Like, bruh, it's like, you've been at this job every day this week.
Right.
It's the weekend.
Right.
Like, you don't get no days off. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But they're so dedicated to their job, and then it's like
But don't-
companies downsizing, they gotta cut you.
But you know what I was gonna say? Let's salute the guys that run those companies because they have a fear built into these people
Yo.
in this system.
That sounds like
where,
loyalty.
where they will kill themselves.
Yo,
That's
okay,
it, Bobby.
so it's you get to the point where you're like, yo, would I want that? You know, like,
No,
I'm
real
just
talk.
like, yo, I want to hire you.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what?
I like the way. I like your.
yeah,
Yo,
I like
no,
your-
that's how they disguise it. I like your work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, bullshit.
No,
yeah.
real talk. It's scary. Like, you can have two candidates for a position, and they'll be like, all right, yo, fight to the death. Winner gets the job.
Facts.
Must
They will
be-
scrap.
And they'll do
See?
it.
We'll scrap it out.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, yo,
That's
the
power.
stuff. Yo, we're playing the wrong game. Yo, this has been my phrase all year. We're playing the wrong game, fam. Because there's the other side of, like, think about, like, I want you to think about something. There's Monopoly, right? When you're playing Monopoly, you're like, oh, I got positions here, this, that, and you feel sick.
Right.
But then there's the person who invented the game.
100%.
There's levels to the shit.
it's
You
like
could be winning the game, you know.
Right.
But you have to understand that a motherfucker created the emotion that you're going through
And
when you're playing this
And you're getting
game right
compensated
now.
in real
Like-
money.
like-
Not paper because you bought that game.
And
You
I
see
always-
what I'm saying? And yo,
And I always say, you have to salute, like, obviously, because we're thinking on another level, but I'm just saying, like, you have to salute that guy because
Bro.
that guy understood, like you said, to invoke that emotion out of you, had to build this system, this game, for you to go, yo, I got all this money, and
bro,
I'm like, you know what I
like,
mean?
yo, listen to this. There's a kid right now that said, I was born to play basketball.
Right.
If Dr. James never invented this fucking game, what were you born to do?
Facts.
I'm trying to really understand this.
With that being
A
said,
man invented the game.
with that being
Bro.
said, Junior's Harlem right now, and we're gonna wrap that up today. We want to thank you for tuning in. Stan, if you have anything you want to plug in, Instagram, anything like that, plug it in.
What's up, guys? You can follow me on Instagram at Stan_Bravo. This was a great opportunity to chop it up with my brothers. Stay tuned for the next one.
Junior, plug in.
Yo, follow me at Junior_Alpha Pack. You know, Alpha Pack Network. We doing some things, man. Follow the kid. We really just getting started.
Oh man, this got me super excited. I feel like this is gonna be epic. I think these talks are gonna be like something that we've never seen before. You can follow me Nokturnal TV or Nokturnal_Inc. at Instagram. Everything will be plugged in. Tune into the next one. And we hope to get some people on these shows. And like, if you have any sort of insight, let us know. Thank you.